Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first of our engagements. For those who don't know me, my name is Nigel LeMaitre from the Driving Vehicle Standards, and I will be delivering this presentation this afternoon. And in the background is my colleague, Piers Farm, who will be fielding and collating all of your questions. I know it's a little different to our previous meetings. For those that remember as far back as Ebenezer Chapel or the King's Centre, or maybe more recently the RJHS, but the pandemic has changed a lot of how we do things. This is as new to us as it is to some of you, so let's hope this all goes swimmingly. Hopefully everybody is somewhere that they can see and hear us clearly, and we'll be getting underway shortly. Before we do, I know many of you may not have used live events or Microsoft Teams before, so hopefully we can all navigate this event without incident. Please feel free to ask questions. After all, it's your input that helps us develop the scheme. If we start with how to ask questions, at the top of the live event window, there should be a speech bubble with a question mark in it. If you click on that, you can then type questions in the text box. Depending on how many questions come in, they may not be all answered immediately, but we will answer all questions in due course. So if you want to wait until the end of the event before asking your question, that's fine. We may have just answered your question. It's entirely up to you. For those who cannot attend or have to step away for whatever reason, this event is being recorded, so it will be available after. Also, apologies in advance if I use any acronyms. I'll try not to, but just in case, for those who are not familiar, if I talk about VOL, that'll be Vehicle Operators Licensing, TMs, that'll be Transport Managers, CPC, that will refer to Transport Managers Certificate of Professional Competence, and ARIs will be Annual Roadworthiness Inspections. If for whatever reasons you can't ask questions because of either the tech you're using to watch this on or just where you are, we'll leave the event open for a bit at the end to allow for questions to feed in. Or you can just email me direct when you get back to the office or home. We have a lot to go through, and I know you're all very busy people, so I'll try to get through this without too much delay. So today we'll start with our current position, where we are now and what we're up to. Then we'll look at the proposed timeline. Clearly things have changed with COVID pushing back on everything, so we'll let you know our proposed new schedule. And then we'll get on to the main reason we're here, to look at the survey. We'll look at the outcomes of the survey and the messages we got from it, and this will be the main focus of today's event. And we'll finish off this afternoon by looking at our next steps and looking forward to where we go from here. So the Vehicle Operators Licence Law was drafted in 2019 with the intention of going live in 2020 or 2021. But due to the hiatus caused by COVID, we weren't going to just pick up from where we left off. There's a lot of water gone under the bridge since. So we thought it best to do a temperature check of where the industry is before we finalise the scheme, hence the survey. So we're having a review of the scheme, not just into where we are now, but also how we got here, and most importantly, how we get to where we all want to be. We mustn't lose sight that the introduction of the scheme, that we are introducing the scheme on the back of the industry requesting that government introduce an operators licenses back many years ago, and this scheme with the ultimate goal of creating a level playing field and improving road safety. So it is incumbent upon us to ensure we get it right. Another piece of work going on in the background is the IT systems. It's our intention for the industry to be able to manage their own licenses, and we're just working on the IT architecture as we speak. We mustn't lose sight that it is your licenses for you to manage. As with any new piece of legislation, there is a period before it can be enacted. And we are now where we were in February 2020 before lockdown. The legislation will have gone through the approval process by the end of 2021, and if approved, it will be enforced, and we will be able to invite applications by the middle of 2022. This means we'll have processed the applications and issued the licenses by the end of next year. In this section, we'll now walk through the outputs of the survey and look at what you've been saying to us. And hopefully, we'll be able to answer some of your more high level and more common questions arising from it. So first of all, we had to understand how you maintain your fleet. This is important. 35% use a combination of both internal and external repair and maintenance facilities. It's reassuring that a third of operators have the skills in-house to at least do minor repairs and maintenance. But with 77% of you using externals, where there is pressure, clearly this is an area that needs to develop and evolve with the industry. It's reassuring that a large percentage of operators understand their responsibilities, with 89% scoring positively. But we do have an industry split on the benefits of the scheme. If we get this right, then hopefully, when we have finished our engagements, more of the industry will recognise the benefits and be more comfortable with the scheme. So, what does right look like to us? To us, right is a well-regulated and self-managed industry, resulting in a level playing field for everyone operating commercially. Right is improved road safety, not just for the haulage industry, but for all road users. Right is improved environmental credentials of the haulage industry, as the well-maintained vehicles are more efficient and have an overall smaller environmental impact. And right is an industry that fits into the future of transport in the island. If we succeed in best practice being adopted as the norm, then right should look a bit like this. Data from the survey indicates that the industry predicts at least some challenges, which is exactly why we did the survey. We appreciate that implementing some of the requirements will be more challenging for some than others, but when reviewing the comments submitted in the survey, many of the perceived challenges may not be as some people believe. We will be covering some of these comments in the coming slides. Over 60% scored 5 and above, but there is clearly mixed feelings here. Hopefully, by the end of these engagements again, we will be in a better position, and if we can turn some of these 1s into at least 5s, we will be getting somewhere. Again, when looking at the comments, we believe this is completely doable. Conditions of license. General feedback from the industry is the conditions are reasonable. Over 73% of the industry recorded 5 or more, with just over a quarter totally agreeing. Again, good repute. This is a relatively new term for the general fitness of license holders and transport managers. So it's reassuring that a high percentage understand the principles, with over 80% submitting a more positive feedback. Periodic safety inspections. Clearly, a mix of views on periodic safety inspections. So we've looked at the written responses to the survey, and there is still a message we need to ensure we get across. The Vehicle Operators Licence Scheme provides guidance, and this guidance is tailored to fit into a framework to operate within. And many of the comments on the survey and the slide indicates we still need to clarify. So when we look at what people have been telling us, annual roadworthiness inspections are working, and that should be it. Well, that would be nice, but the reality, unfortunately, is we're still seeing some operators doing the bare minimum to skate through the inspection. And the failure rate with some operators is still high. Under a licensing scheme, these failures would be enough to set alarm bells ringing, and many of these faults would just not exist if the vehicles had undergone safety inspections. 6 weekly checks is excessive, inspected every 6 weeks, regardless of how little or how much they used. These are just some comments, and what was stated in the guide is that you know your vehicles and your operation better than anybody. And for those that are unsure where to start, 6 weekly is a good starting point. We do not see your vehicles every day, you do. That is why the recommended inspection window is so broad, 4 to 13 weeks. This guide also provides best practice advice. So the frequency at which inspections are undertaken should be determined by assessing the level of mechanical degradation likely to be incurred over a period as a result of the vehicle's usage. So the message we want to get across is the PSI intervals can only be set by you as the operator. We wouldn't expect any commercial vehicles to have intervals outside of the quarterly period, but if you set a period and you're identifying faults at every inspection, then maybe that period is too long, and vice versa. Clearly, the periodic safety inspection intervals for the twin axle 17-ton tipper, for instance, that has been worked hard and is on off building sites all day, is going to be more frequent than, for instance, a lorry that does a light load once a week. Ultimately, it's what works for you. To A, ensure your vehicles are safe, and B, they don't let you down. We don't expect people to get these intervals right first time. So moving on to in-house repair maintenance. 2/3 don't see challenges to the in-house repair maintenance and inspection provisions. For those that do, we will be going through the comments and addressing areas of concern. Move on to an external repair maintenance. Again, mixed views, with over half seeing potential challenges here. Contracts between the repair maintenance provider and an operator are there to protect both parties. And in a licensing scheme, we need to ensure you're protected. What we have learned from other jurisdictions is that the breakdown, the relationship between the repair and maintenance provider and operator can have a negative impact on a license. So a contract can protect you. We have provided a basic contract template in the guide if you're not sure. Contracts do not have to be overly complicated, and we must stress these are there to help protect you. Transport managers. We'll look at these two slides together to get a better understanding of the message. The slide on the left relates to the qualifications and experience, and the one on the right relates to having a transport manager in place. Over 69% of the haulage industry believe the training and experience requirements for the professional transport manager is correct. And again, when looking at the comments on the survey, there does seem to be a significant number who maybe didn't quite understand the qualification and experience requirements. There's still a number that believe that transport managers must have the certificate of professional competence. And some believe the position of a transport manager has to be a new appointment within the organisation. So before we move on, we'll have a quick look at just some of the comments and concerns and hopefully clear up a few things. We've only picked a couple of comments from each area of concern because nearly all were the same. So here we'll start by asking, who is currently looking after your vehicles? Who schedules the maintenance and ensures they're repaired when there is an issue? If that's you, that's fine. Or if it's a member of your team, and if they're doing a good job, then can I suggest that they're your transport managers? The licensing scheme asks for the name of a responsible person. They will be your transport manager and become the go-to person for any queries. Another area of concern seems to be our transport managers' qualifications. And we agree, a certificate of professional competence for a lot of on-island operations is overkill and inappropriate. That's why our guidance states that a transport manager must have a transport manager TBC or be able to demonstrate they have relevant experience in the industry. You must remember it's your license, so the person you're putting in charge of your transport operation, if it's not yourself, is someone you have confidence in. But if they can't demonstrate they have an experience locally, then a certificate of professional competence will go a long way towards you being confident that they know what they're doing. But we do ask that you please read the guidance around transport managers' responsibilities in their guide. Fees. Introducing any new fee will always be met with a level of unease. These fees have been set to fairly reflect the cost of the scheme's administration and any ongoing compliance activities, and will provide a dedicated licensing officer for the industry. So, at current levels, it's proposed that for the company's 5-year license, it will be £200. That's £40 per year, which equates to about 11p a day. For the vehicles, annual licensing fee will be £90 per vehicle, which will equate to 24p per day. This will provide a level playing field, improved road safety, and improves the environmental credentials of the industry. And it ensures the industry can fit into the future of transport in the island as well. And as well as being a mainly self-regulated transport sector. I hope everyone takes something away from today and that we have answered some of your more high-level questions. For those that are just joining us on this journey, you can see the effort that the industry and the government has put into ensuring that the scheme is effective without being onerous. In a drive to ensure the scheme is still operating to industry best practice and to ensure the scheme is fit for Jersey, we have already modified the requirements of Transport Manager's Certificate of Professional Competences. We've been flexible on the periodic safety inspection intervals, and we've removed the requirements for all drivers to have their Certificate of Professional Competence. And we've kept away from regulating depots, like is done in the UK and many other jurisdictions. These next 2 dates have been earmarked for further engagement if needed on periodic safety inspections, transport managers, and costs and fees, which is where most of the concerns seem to arise. As mentioned at the beginning, if you're unable to send questions via this event, please feel free to email me on the address on the screen. We will leave the event live for a couple of minutes to allow for the last questions to filter through. Thank you for attending, and again, I sincerely hope that you all took something away from today. From Pierce and myself, good afternoon.